What's up? What's up? What's up? Coach Mo here, your inner arena swag coach. Self-awareness, why power, aligned action, and grit. And the inner arena is about helping high achievers lead under pressure inside a space where we can unleash the armor and learn how to lead under pressure. So, today, I'm going to check in about how to shut down that punk ass inner critic. You know what I mean? That self-doubt, that voice that always show up when we do not need it to show up. And it just limits us, right? And so let's talk about that. Let's dive deep into that, because that punk ass inner critic is what limits us. It's that voice that creates doubt and judges us. And so I'm going to teach you how to tame his punk ass. And the first step is using the framework SWAG. You guys heard me talk about this before. As the S is self-awareness, the W is why power, the A is aligned action, and the G is grit. So how does that apply when taming that punk ass inner critic? So this is what you got to do. The first step is have self-awareness, right? And the tip, here's the number one tip that you can start to apply in generating self-awareness. You got to have a vision, right? If you can have the opportunity to put a picture in your head in that moment of what you're trying to achieve, that is what can start to help tame your inner critic. Because the inner critic, right, is judgment. And when you don't have a purpose and when you don't have a vision, it's easy for the inner critic to appear and judge you in those moments. And it's easy to listen to it because you don't have a vision, that picture, or a purpose in that moment of where you're going. So it's easier for the inner critic to distract you, right? And the inner critic, it sounds like your voice in your head. And so what do? You listen to it, you trust it. But the inner critic is about doubt. So, and it limits you, it judges you, and it creates the space to make you feel like you're not good enough. So how do we overcome that? How do we overcome that? SWAG. SWAG is how we overcome it. And the first step is, like I said, put that picture in your mind of what you're trying to achieve in that moment, right? That's the first thing. If you can do that, right? And then let's go through the SWAG model. Self-awareness, right? Remembering the picture that you have in your head, right, is like the first step around the self-awareness. And so not only reminding you of the picture, but the feeling that you have. Because think about it, when that inner critic shows up, there's this sense, this feeling around I'm not good enough, worry, doubt, all of these type of negative type emotions that you may be feeling in that moment. That's judgment. And when that judgment is present, the inner critic is also present, right? So with self-awareness, you know the feeling of doubt, insecurity is present. So typically that voice appears to making you feel as though you're not good enough, or it's not going to work, the idea is not good enough, whatever the case might be. And so with self-awareness, in that moment, when that trigger happens, you have to know to put your attention, in on the picture that's in your mind that you want to achieve in that moment. That's number one. Number two is the why power. Like, what's the purpose? And remembering your values. That's really important. And here's another tip about your values. Do something as simple as this. If you are unsure about what your values are and what are the drivers for you to move forward, do this quick little trick, okay? Here's what you do. Go to ChatGPT and type in 100, you provide me 100 values, okay? ChatGPT is going to list 100 values. Of those 100 values, pick the first 20 that resonate with you, and then break the 20 down to your top 10. And then of the top 10, right, the top 10, create your top 3 to 5 non-negotiables from that top 10. Then you have your core values. Your core values are right there. And then that becomes your purpose, right? So now with that purpose, you can start moving towards certain aligned actions, which is the A in SWAG, right? The Y power drives your aligned action. And so then what's one step that you can do in this moment to limit your punk ass inner critic showing up? What's one action right now that you can do, right? We've already talked about creating a picture. You know what your core values are. So what's one action that I can do right now that limits that punk ass inner critic for showing up? You figure that out for yourself. Now you implement grit. Grit is that determination that you're not going to let your punk ass inner critic supersede your mindset in that moment, and you stay true to that, and you continue to move forward. And then in that moment, that's swag. And with swag, right? With swag, you moving forward. The inner critic is becoming shut down. We shut the inner critic down. And so when you have that, there's possibilities now. There's possibilities, you know? And the swag is what is the guide to help you overcome that punk ass inner critic in that moment. And here's the reality of it. The inner critic never goes away unless you have swag to limit it in that moment. And so I just taught you really quick a simple framework that you can apply that supports you taming that punk ass inner critic. And when you can implement that, right, it's a game changer. But here's the thing, you got to have the self-awareness to remember to do it, right? And right now, I guarantee you, if you're watching this video, that punk ass inner critic is trying to talk you out of following my framework and what I'm teaching you right now. That's the thing. So when you develop that awareness for yourself to know when that inner critic is present, and the best way to even develop that awareness outside of the SWAG framework is understanding the feelings. Because when that punk ass inner critic shows up, guess how you feel? Doubtful, insecure, unsure, afraid, self-esteem is down. All of that is happening. All of it's happening. And that's the trigger. And when you have that feeling with that trigger, remember swag. Just remember swag. And then when you remember swag, you're good, because now you're taking on the process, right? You're taking the process of limiting that punk ass inner critic from showing up. So check this out. In the inner arena, that's our locker room. That's where we drop the armor, and that's where we get real. And we get reps in practicing this framework that I'm teaching you right now. And so if you want to be a part of that, jump into my Lead It Like You Mean It intensive. Okay? Lead It Like You Mean It intensive. Drop into that. The link is at the bottom. And that's how you enter the locker room. And in that locker room, we we train for this. We train the mindset to overcome that punk ass inner critic. And you could be a part of it anytime. So there it is. See you when I see you. Talk to you soon.